Big changes are coming to the city of Raleigh that will impact not only your walk, but your drive to work too.
A move to make sports gambling legal in North Carolina failed last year. We'll explain why this second chance could be different.
And climate change is forcing local farmers to rethink how they farmed for generations.
Your number one source for local news. This is WRAL, coverage you can count on.
A relaxing stroll downtown can quickly become dangerous if a vehicle suddenly turns into your path. Good morning, I'm Bayla Walker.
And I'm Camila Pereira. You're looking at our live camera on Fayetteville Street in downtown Raleigh, where new signs will soon warn drivers not to turn on red. CBC-UNC Diversity Fellow Lisbeth Ramirez is live in downtown Raleigh. Lisbeth, what caused the city to take these next steps?
Camila, I'm here on Fayetteville Street in downtown Raleigh, where City of Raleigh data shows that there's been over 200 crashes involving people on intersections like this. City Council decided they can't wait any longer. Diana Sims rolls around downtown Raleigh daily.
Right, all the time.
Sims has many experience with drivers in the area.
On Capitol Boulevard, one day I was crossing the street coming from Little City, and I had the right of way, and the person was on the phone, not paying attention, and how close he was, she stopped on brakes.
She says things like this happen all too often.
They need more lights and more signs for people that's in wheelchairs and people have disabilities.
That change is coming to Raleigh soon. City Council voted to stop drivers from turning right on red in the downtown area.
I'm really excited.
Senior engineer James Sudano says the move will help limit pedestrian crashes.
Downtown Raleigh is one of our top areas where we have conflicts with vehicles.
Change started here on McDowell and Lane Street after a 2019 crash that killed a state employee. This led Governor Roy Cooper to ask the city of Raleigh to take steps toward pedestrian safety.
Safety is going to be our top priority over efficiency, and that's what we're focusing on here with this effort.
Although there might be some traffic delays, Sudano reassures residents.
Everyone's on our mind when it comes to safety.
I don't see people really obeying the traffic signals out here.
Kelly Colvin sells hot dogs on Fayetteville Street. He says he's seen 2 pedestrian crashes in this past year.
I mean, we have a certain percentage of people that follow the rules and a certain percentage that don't.
However, for pedestrians like Sims, there is still hope.
I think it's going to be a little bit better, and a little bit safer for us.
The city of Raleigh expects these changes to go up within the next 60 days, and pedestrians just can't wait. Lisbeth Ramirez, WRAL News.
Thanks, Lisbeth.
The family of a teenager who was hit by a car says he's able to move his arms and legs and is in good spirits, but it was a different story on Wednesday. Investigators say Tillman Mitchell was hit by a distracted driver after he got off his school bus. 51-year-old Howard Gene Lee is charged with passing a stopped school bus and reckless driving. Police are investigating whether the Tesla was in autopilot mode. For anyone, purchasing a home can be difficult and stressful, especially on a budget. Raleigh's affordable housing programs could help you through the process. Jess Peacock, a middle school teacher, moved in with her parents to save money. When she heard of the city's projects, she got one step closer to her dream of buying a home. The program helps potential buyers through the home buying process and requires them to take financial literacy classes. After completing the program, Peacock bought her first home. Visit raleighnc.gov/housing to get started.
The new sports betting bill could let you gamble on professional and collegiate sports right on your cell phone. CBC-UNC Diversity Fellow Leslie Guzman joins us live. Leslie, what's the progress on this bill?
Yes, Camila, I'm outside Reynolds Coliseum where the NC State women's basketball team plays. And according to legislators, you might be able to place a bet on them next year.
For sports fan Jacob Dale, last year's failed sports gambling bill was a missed shot.
I was really hopeful that the bill would pass last year. It was a little bit disappointing.
The bill is back for a second round, and one of its main sponsors, Representative Jason Sain, is expecting a different outcome this session.
I think we're moving forward. I think it's a much different atmosphere from last time.
While Representative Sain is optimistic, having apps like these in North Carolina is still more than just a click away. WRAL's investigative sports reporter Brian Murphy has kept a close eye on the sports wagering bill and explains why it hasn't been able to get the votes.
Yeah, I mean, North Carolina is just, a more conservative conservative state than some of the states that have legalized mobile sports betting.
Murphy explained that this year's session could be different because there are new lawmakers in the House, and pro sports teams spent the last few months lobbying lawmakers and providing better data. Representative Saines explains that North Carolinians are already sports betting and says passing this bill will ensure consumer safety.
Quite frankly, I think the bill puts a spotlight and allows for some real transparency to understand better what sports wagering is looking like in our state.
Sports fans like Dale say legalizing sports betting could even help some sports grow in the state.
Something like F1 that's growing, I don't watch it, but if betting was involved, maybe I'd look into it. That would be fun and give me a reason to watch it.
The North Carolina sports betting bill is on the agenda for this Tuesday's House Commerce Committee. I'm Leslie Guzman, WRAL.
Thanks, Leslie. I just hope you didn't bet any money on State or Duke this tournament. The Wolfpack men's basketball team lost by 9 points to Creighton in their first round NCAA tournament game on Friday. This marks the end of their tournament run, and Duke's season is also over after a 13-point loss to Tennessee. The loss also marks the end of any men's teams in the tournament, but the UNC and Duke women's team make forward.
Next on WRAL, you're not the only one coping with this cold.
I'm Raina Crooms here at Interfaith Food Shuttle Farm, where they're planting their lettuce crops almost 2 weeks early. And is climate change to blame? Coming up next.
You're looking live at Durham, a beautiful morning shaping up there for the start of the Tobacco Road Marathon.
Another chilly day here in the Triangle, Camila. I had to go back inside and put back on my jacket. We're from Florida. We love the sunshine. It was just too cold.
I know, the sun looks like it's deceptively hot because of the sun. No, it's not Florida. It's not like Florida. Lots of back and forth weather-wise recently. Later this week, we're looking at a high of 85, almost double of the high today. WRAL meteorologist Peter Sherwood takes a closer look at these weather swings.
Winters are certainly getting warmer in the Triangle. We had the warmest winter on record, the second warmest January on record, and the warmest February ever. All seasons are experiencing warmer temperatures when looking at the numbers at RDU, but winter is definitely warming the fastest. Warmer winters lead to earlier blooms on plants and trees, a longer pollen season, and more disease-carrying insects. And it also is less snow for recreation and irrigation.
The impacts of climate change are forcing local farmers to rethink the way that they farm for generations. CBC-UNC Diversity Fellow Raina Crooms met with local farm owners to learn how they're adjusting. Raina, what's been their main struggle?
Well, farmers are struggling to find a balance. I'm here at the Raleigh City Farm, where farmers experienced a big drop in temperature just earlier this week. However, they are working to stay ahead of the problem.
Carrie Martin owns Footprints in the Garden Farm. The land has been in her family for 140 years.
Hi!
Over the years, Martin has seen some changes.
We have had seasons and things where we felt like the temperature and the overall weather for climate control has made us make some alterations to our growing.
However, altering the growing season creates uncertainty.
It's a good thing on certain crops, but it might be something more difficult on other crops. And so we just have to learn how to pivot, whether that is a good thing for our crop or a bad thing.
So that's the big question. What's going to happen with climate change? At Interfaith Food Shuttle Farm, they're planting their crops almost 2 weeks early. And for the people working the ground, the evidence is all around.
I firmly believe that climate change is real.
Keaton McDaniel is the farm production coordinator at Interfaith Food Shuttle Farm.
And going over the previous years and harvest dates, transplant times, stuff like that, you can see for a fact that climate is shifting and that we are all having to adjust to that. It's impacting us mainly because it's harder to predict when we're going to be putting our stuff in the fields.
Farmers are not the only ones feeling the impacts of climate change. Some of us might feel it in our wallets.
This coming season 2023 will have an increase in pricing. The increase in price in fertilizer and other implements that we would need to use on the farm, as well as climate change, having to nurture that plant a little bit more than normal, whether it's cold season or warm season.
Both farmers say they want to help keep local communities fed. and they plan to do so by sticking to a plan. Raina Crooms, WRAL News.
Thanks, Raina.
Other parts of the nation continue to see extreme weather. This video from Fort Worth, Texas shows hail between the sizes of quarters and baseballs, pelting cars and piling up on the ground. Once the hailstorm ended, some Texans stepped outside and picked up the hail, giving us a better idea of just how big these blocks of ice falling out of the sky were. If you're thinking about heading west for spring break, think twice. The damaging floods in California could continue for the next few weeks. Forecasters with the NOAA say there's more potential flooding in California from storms and melting snow. The flood risk is also high along parts of the Mississippi River. People in Texas, Oklahoma, and New Mexico could experience extreme drought.
We're getting a clearer picture of how the COVID-19 pandemic started. A team of international virus experts discovered genetic data linking the coronavirus to raccoon dogs sold at a market in Wuhan, China. However, the data is not conclusive and contradicts a federal assessment that the virus originated from a laboratory leak. FDA advisors recommend the full approval of Paxlovid as a COVID treatment for people who suffer from several medical conditions. The FDA made Paxlovid available in December 2021 for emergency use for high-risk individuals ages 12 and up. Pfizer submitted an application for full approval of the drug in June 2022. A final decision is expected in May.
A local town has a lofty goal.
Coming up, what Chapel Hill is doing to eliminate traffic fatalities and serious injuries to zero by the next decade.
Big age difference and an even bigger friendship at an assisted living facility in Rhode Island.
Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your #1 source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Just like gas, eggs, and rent, the cost of insulin is at an all-time high. But some companies are now lowering their prices to make it more affordable. Pharmaceutical companies like Eli Lilly are lowering the cost of their products by as much as 75%. UNC Hospital Dr. Janice Huang says high insulin prices push diabetics to ration, which can cause vision and nerve damage. Lowering prices also helps the healthcare industry.
There have been many studies reported where, if you allow people access to the medications that they need and get their diabetes under better control, downstream, there's huge savings to the whole healthcare system.
Eli Lilly and other pharmaceutical companies say they hope lowering costs discourages rationing.
The town of Chapel Hill wants to eliminate all traffic-related injuries and deaths to zero by 2031. CBC-UNC Diversity Fellow Jake Reyes tells us what's been done so far and whether progress is moving in the right direction. Jake?
Well, Bela, streets like the one you're seeing right behind me can get busy, and that can lead to a lot of concerns when it comes to road safety. That's why the town of Chapel Hill has implemented the Vision Zero plan. It aims to reduce all traffic-related injury and deaths to zero by 2031. Now, I spoke with the cyclist, and she tells me she just wants to continue what she loves safely.
Share the road. That's what drivers, pedestrians, and cyclists like Margaret Fields are hoping to live by.
Oh, you feel like a bird. It's like you're flying.
How long has she been flying?
Oh, since I was a kid.
She just wants to make sure she continues to do so. The town of Chapel Hill has pursued the same goal since 2021 with a plan called Vision Zero.
As we cross into the next decade, the Vision Zero resolution hopes to eliminate traffic fatalities and serious injuries by 2031. But what exactly does that look like?
What we try to do is weigh heavily on an education side of it.
At Chapel Hill Police Department, Lieutenant of Patrol Operations Todd Harris says keeping people informed on safety is key.
We do monthly focused patrol efforts for speed. We also do those for crosswalk initiatives as well.
But is it working?
The national crash data, the trends are headed in really the wrong direction.
Chapel Hill Complete Streets Specialist Ian Baltutis says Chapel Hill is not following the national trend, but not much has changed. According to traffic data, from 2016 to 2020, 3 people died and 5 suffered severe injuries while walking or biking in Chapel Hill. Since Vision Zero was enacted in 2021, 2 deaths and 8 serious injuries.
Nobody deserves to die on our road network, and the only acceptable number is 0.
As for Fields,
For the most part, I do feel safe.
she simply wants to ride without worry.
I want to get out and soak up some sunshine and feel the wind in my face.
Baltutis did tell me that the recent data trends are not changing much in Chapel Hill is simply because these projects take time. The resolution is only a little less than 2 years old, so we'll keep you updated on whether that changes as the decade progresses. Jake Reyes, WRAL News.
Thanks, Jake.
Friendship comes in all shapes and sizes and ages. If you don't believe us, take it from these two. This is 100-year-old Florence Katz and her best friend, 6-year-old Marcel Genesee. They live in Warwick, Rhode Island, Florence at an assisted living facility there. The two met months ago through Marcel's mom, an employee at the facility.
Now Marcel goes every week for day dates, as Florence calls them. They talk, they play games, and they read together. Florence says having a friend of another generation is a blessing, and having someone to count on makes their relationship just that special. You can find these and more stories by the student journalists in the 2023 CBC-UNC Diversity Fellowship on WRAL.com. Search Fellowship.
Thank you for watching this special newscast produced by the fellows participating in the CBC-UNC Diversity Fellowship. I'm Camila Pereira.
And I'm Bayla Walker. Have a great day.